You hungry? Let's take a trip. What's up, locals? It's your girl AJ from the Local Tourist Craves, and today we are doing another episode of Super Sabuki Snacks. This is episode 8, and it is another one for my adult kids. So we are going to make a veggie or vegetarian friendly dish. We're going to actually make savory hand pies. So the items that you're going to need for this recipe are a mushroom of your choice. Today we have portobello mushrooms. You're going to use a whole sweet onion, a bag of, I'm using frozen spinach, and I'll show you guys why once we get into the recipe. Some pie crust, some garlic, mozzarella cheese. Those are all of our ingredients. Our utensils, you're going to need some paper towels to clean our mushrooms. You're going to need a biscuit cutter or whatever size cutter biscuit. Y'all see, you need this. You're going to need a bowl to mix all your ingredients in, your favorite knife, a cutting board, and as usual, a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. So if you guys want to see how to make these, keep watching. Alright y'all, first things first, y'all know how we do. We're going to preheat our oven to 450 degrees, if I remember correctly. You're just going to follow the back of your paper. So yeah, 450. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and cut all of our veggies, and then we'll come back. Before we start cutting our veggies, what you want to do is you don't want to wash your mushrooms in water. Mushrooms already retain a lot of water, so adding water to them, you'll never get them cooked all the way through. So you're just going to take a paper towel and you're just going to wipe it, and you'll see, as long as it wipes clean, you see the brown. We're just going to use that to clean our mushrooms. So you're just going to wipe them down really good, and then I'll go back in with a damp paper towel just to make sure we get all of that debris off. So you just want to wipe them down really good, but do not submerge your mushrooms in water. It's not going to get you anywhere, I promise. But you see, we're getting them nice and clean. So go ahead and wash all your mushrooms. If you get them like pre-cut, like some people get them, then you don't have to worry about that. But I like to, you know, start like this. So go ahead and wipe your mushrooms down, cut all your veggies, and then we'll meet back here in a minute. Alright y'all, so just in case you don't know, I don't want to leave you hanging. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how emphasis on how I cut my mushrooms. So you're going to go ahead and take the base of the mushroom off, set that to the side. You're going to take the mushroom, cut it down the middle, and set that to the side. Then for my larger mushrooms, I just like to cut about an inch thick in size. We're going to cut them long ways. Make sure you're chucking those fingers down so you don't chop them off. And then we're going to go ahead and just do a rough chop. Make sure you're tucking those fingers so you don't catch them. There you go. So go ahead and cut all your mushrooms. Now I'll show you how to do the side. Let me get this away. Go ahead and put that to the side, and then I'll show you how to do the base of the mushroom as well. Gotta make sure my babies know what to do, you feel me? I can't just leave y'all hanging. So you're gonna try not to make a mess like I'm doing. But disclaimer, my camera's clean, so that's okay. So you're gonna take the base of the mushroom, again, cut it down the middle, and you're just gonna rough chop it. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to cook these down with a whole bunch of goodness. So, yeah. Go ahead and chop your mushrooms. Meet me back here in 3, 2, 1. Alright, y'all. So, I have all of our veggies cooked up. And I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And we're going to start with our onions because they're going to take the longest to cook down. I have my heat on medium heat. And we're going to go ahead and cook our onions down. I didn't chop these any specific way because it doesn't really matter because we're cooking them down quite a bit. We're actually going to caramelize them, which means we're going to cook them at a super low temperature for a very long time to get out all that sweet flavor, which is why we're using sweet onions. So they're going to literally, this is one whole onion, it's going to be like a third of this. So you're going to just go ahead and put your heat on medium, and you're just going to let them cook down. You're going to stir every couple of minutes until they turn nice and brown. Alright guys, so while we're waiting for our onions to caramelize over here, I'm going to go ahead and prep my pie crust. So I have one of the pie crust itself. And what I'm actually going to do to be in the mood and the spirit of Halloween, we're going to turn these into little pumpkins. So we're going to go ahead and roll this out. I'm just working on a clean surface as I break it. And I'm going to roll it out. And then I'm going to take my biscuit cutter. It's actually a biscuit cutter. Cookie cutter, biscuit cutter, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to go ahead and cut as many even shapes out and go ahead and put it on this sheet. Now you can do this one of two ways. You can either just make them simple, put a little filling in, fold it over, and be done. Or you could be extra like I'm being, and we're going to make them pumpkins. So we're just going to cut these out. And you want to try to get as many as you can out of here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So then I'm going to take the bits and pieces and turn them into like tops to make them little pumpkins. So I'm just going to cut, like you see, triangle here. That can be one eye. See another triangle here. So that's 2 eyes for the pumpkin. Here's an eye. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Again, we're just being creative. And let's cut. I'm just using a little paring knife. I'm gonna make a little mouth. Perfect. We'll make a mouth for this one. But you get the drift. So use your bits and pieces. Make little shapes to make your pumpkins or whatever shape you want them to look like. And then go ahead and pop these in the freezer and let them kind of just stay hardened until we're ready to fill our pies. Alright, so I have all of my shapes and pieces cut out. I have them lined on my parchment paper, lined with paper. My baking sheet lined with parchment paper. And we're going to go ahead and pop them in the freezer. These pieces need to somewhat stay as cold as possible. So just cut it however you like. You don't have to be super perfect. Just be creative. So we're going to let these nice and harden. As you can see over here, my onions are cooking down nicely. They're getting a good color on them. I'm going to let them cook for a few more minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and add in our mushrooms and spinach, and then we'll go to next steps. So let's go ahead and pop these in the freezer. And we wait. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes. My onions have cooked down quite a bit. We're going to just go ahead and put them on top of our spinach because I'm going to cook my mushrooms down before I cook everything together to marry. So all those good yummy bits at the bottom, you want to leave those. Mushrooms have a lot of moisture in them. So what I'm going to do to pull some of that moisture out is I'm going to add a little bit of salt. What that's going to do is pull out the moisture from the mushrooms, as well as season our mushrooms just a smidge, but it's really just going to help them cook down a lot faster. So this is literally going to reduce by half, maybe even a third. And we left those onion bits because as our mushrooms, what are mushrooms, y'all? As our mushrooms cook down, it's going to take that seasoning that's at the bottom of that pan and absorb into the mushrooms, giving it some great flavor. As you can see, I haven't added anything other than a little bit of that salt, and that's only to pull out the moisture from the mushrooms. So I'm going to show you guys how to season once we cook these down. You can definitely season to your liking, but I'm going to show you what I use today. So y'all see all that moisture here at the bottom that's cooked out of my mushrooms? We're going to keep cooking. It's going to keep cooking down. You can see it's already reduced a lot, but like I said, that shows you how much water is in mushrooms. This is one of the main reasons why we don't clean it in water, because you see how much is in there just from us wiping them down. So imagine if you would have cleaned them in water, it would have retained a lot of that water. So just keep cooking. Keep cooking. Alright y'all, so you see the moisture from the mushrooms have increased significantly. You're going to cook this down. If you're at this point, you're doing it right. Don't freak out. You're going to keep cooking down until all this water is gone. All of it. So if you're at this point, don't freak out. Don't drain them. Just keep cooking them. Keep cooking. Alright y'all, so our mushrooms have cooked down. You see how they look now? That's the perfect. See, there's no moisture. I moved them off the heat. I'm going to go ahead and add in my onions and spinach. The spinach I just cooked in the microwave because you don't have to do everything and make everything so complicated. So we're going to go ahead and mix these in together. And it's at this point Then I'm gonna go ahead and season it. I removed it off of my heat because I don't want the filling to be super hot when I add it into my pie shells, because we don't want it too overcooked. So we're gonna go ahead and add in a tablespoon of garlic. Minced garlic. It doesn't matter who minced it, just make sure it's minced. This is a half a tablespoon, so I did it twice. We're gonna add in seasoning of your choice. So for today, I'm gonna keep it super simple because I want our veggies to kind of shine. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of bir, which is like a predominantly Middle Eastern Indian seasoning. Burby. I always say it wrong. I'm gonna put it in the description down below, but it's really good. So you're gonna mix this in nice and good. Don't make a mess like that like I did. Looks good. I think this is gonna be really good and hearty without any meat. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in our whole stick of low moisture mozzarella. Now if you want this to be completely plant-based, just skip this part. Or you could add in a vegan cheese, dairy-free cheese. So I'm trying to give y'all options so that you can, you know, appease everyone. I am going to start adding more dietary restricted, not necessarily restrictions, but different things. So if you're on keto and you want to see a keto recipe, comment down below keto. If you're gluten-free, comment down gluten-free. Let me know what different type of recipes you guys want to see. So we're gonna mix that in. Your cheese is not gonna melt all the way, but mozzarella does melt pretty quickly. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this over to this bowl, and we're gonna let it cool for a little bit before we go ahead and fill our pie shells. All right, y'all, so I have my baking sheet here. I just put a little bit of olive oil so my pies don't stick. And I'm going to go ahead and just lay my, I'm weird, I like for things to be even. So we're gonna move this here. Lay my pies in there. Then I'm gonna just take about 6 ounces of the mixture. I let it cool in the fridge for a little bit, and we're just gonna fill the pies up. Perfect. Then we're gonna go ahead and decorate with our little bits and pieces to make it look like a pumpkin. Boom. That looked like a pumpkin, right? What you think, y'all? You see pumpkin vibes? Alright, I'm gonna do the rest of them and then I'll show you before I pop them in the oven. Alright, y'all, so I got all of my pumpkin pies filled. We have quite a bit of filling left. You can do one of two things. If you don't want to do like little hand pies like this, you could just make one big pie. It'll be delicious. But we have a few different recipes that we have cooking up for you guys today. So I wanted to do small little things because, I mean, you guys know it's just me and Babe and our brother. So can't be cooking a whole bunch of food. So I'm actually going to probably turn these into egg rolls. Stay tuned for that video. But we're going to go ahead and pop these into our 400-degree oven until the pie crust is completely cooked. And then we'll see how it looks and tastes once we're done. Okay guys, so I took my pies out and I just put them on this cute little serving tray. And they turned out really good. Some of them look more like pumpkins than others, but that's okay. You know, that's the fun part about cooking. It's not going to always turn out perfectly, but what's most important is how it tastes. So let's take a taste and see. They're still pretty hot, so I don't want to burn my mouth. I do that a lot. So good, y'all. The caramelized onions give it a really nice sweet texture, and the saltiness from the pie shell makes it perfect. So don't add any extra salt. I didn't, just enough to do the mushrooms, and that's it. Oh, good. Alright guys, so you try baking yours. Let me know how it turns out. So good. Don't stay a tourist. Become a local and hit that subscribe button. And make sure you spread the love by liking and sharing this video for more local tourist cravings.